You didn't argue, you didn't defend, you didn't explain. You simply became more. While they searched for a reaction, you stayed still, letting the world fill the gaps they couldn't understand. Every question they whispered, every doubt they cast, only reflected your quiet assent. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about letting your presence speak before words ever try. They wonder what changed, why the room feels heavier when you enter, why their plans seem to unravel without your effort. As you move through life with careful calm, every pause, every choice becomes a statement. They called you distant. They whispered arrogant. They said you were different, as if those words could contain you. But every label they placed on you only marked the distance between their perception and your reality. You felt the weight of their misunderstanding in subtle ways, a glance that lingered too long, a comment that cut deeper than intended, a plan that excluded you without reason. The world treated your difference as a flaw, but you began to see it as proof of your own depth, a quiet signal of a force they could not measure. There were moments that stung, moments when betrayal arrived from the most unexpected directions. Friends, family, colleagues, each interaction carried the potential to wound, and often it did. You were underestimated in ways that seemed unfair, punished for abilities and insights they could not comprehend. It was in those spaces of solitude that you first discovered the contours of your own strength, the edges of the person you were becoming. Their doubt became a mirror, reflecting the hidden layers that they could neither see nor accept. Being watched became routine. Every test they devised, every expectation they imposed, was met with subtle resistance. You learned the art of presence without justification, of reacting in ways that revealed nothing, and yet spoke volumes. They could not predict you, could not manipulate your responses, and that unnerved them more than any confrontation ever could. You moved through their evaluations with a quiet certainty, knowing that each observation only confirmed the truth of your own trajectory. Doubt was everywhere. You could feel it like a weight pressing from unseen angles, a constant hum in the background of your life. But instead of breaking you, it became a tool. Pain became more than a sensation. It became evidence. Every slight, every misjudgment, every dismissive comment was proof that your energy carried a force they could not interpret. The discomfort they felt in your presence, the confusion sparked by your choices, was evidence that you operated on a frequency beyond their understanding. You began to reframe what once felt like hurt. Betrayal was no longer a wound, but a signpost, a marker of the spaces where your gravity had begun to pull differently, where your evolution was visible only to those paying attention. Isolation was not emptiness. It was a laboratory where your mind and spirit expanded beyond expectation. Every underestimation became a resource. Their envy and uncertainty were signals too. Subtle energy shifts, fleeting looks of hesitation, whispered assumptions. The closer they tried to hold you, the more evident it became that your influence extended beyond permission, beyond consent, beyond their comprehension. Your growth was invisible, yet undeniable. Your power was silent, but felt. Every interaction became a confirmation that you were not merely surviving their judgment. You were evolving because of them. In time, you understood that being labeled, doubted, watched, and tested was not punishment. It was acknowledgment in disguise. Their discomfort was a reflection of your own presence, a sign that your frequency was rising, and they were catching fragments of it without understanding the source. Your difference, your detachment, your quiet resilience. This phase was not about proving anything. It was about recognition, internal and unshakable. The whispers, the glances, the tests, they were all evidence that the world felt the weight of someone it could not control. In these moments of being misunderstood, you realized that power had a signal of its own. It was subtle, silent, and unmistakable. The more they questioned you, the more your presence affirmed itself. You were becoming something undeniable, even if no one had a name for it yet. And in that space, your journey was already rewriting the rules. They watch without words. They notice the way your presence alters the room, how conversations falter, how energy bends subtly around you. It is silent, unspoken, but sharp. Envy lingers in glances they think you cannot see. You feel it not as threat, but as confirmation of the space you occupy, a space they cannot claim or define. Their attempts at influence are delicate. A comment here, a suggestion there, a nudge meant to sway your direction. Yet nothing lands. You move through these gestures with calm precision, responding only when necessary, revealing nothing of your strategy. The very effort they expend to manipulate is proof of your autonomy. Every subtle test, every quiet push, is an acknowledgement of your weight, even if they refuse to name it aloud. Energy shifts the moment you step in. Rooms feel different. Conversations pause. Patterns that once seemed predictable falter. It is not magic. It is presence refined by awareness and restraint. They sense it before they understand it. They react before they know why. Every misstep they take around you is a mirror of the control they lack, and that knowledge does not need to be spoken. It hums in the air, a pulse that follows you quietly but unmistakably. They study you, looking for a weakness that does not exist. Every movement, every pause, every glance becomes data in their silent evaluation. They cannot see the full picture, cannot predict the patterns that guide your choices. Their analysis is incomplete, and that incompleteness reveals their limits. What they cannot control only confirms the force of your direction, the inevitability of your path. This phase is subtle. It is felt rather than stated. Envy, comparison, manipulation. Your focus remains inward, your attention precise. While they expend energy on conjecture, you move unbothered, steady, controlled. Your autonomy becomes the standard by which they measure themselves, and that standard is unreachable. Influence does not require permission. Control is earned through presence, observation, and unshakable clarity. They may not name it, may not admit it, may not even fully understand it, but the shift is there. You feel it, they feel it, and the room carries the evidence. Nothing is announced, nothing is argued, yet everything is known. The force you wield is invisible, yet undeniable, a signal that cannot be broken. And in their quiet struggle to manage what they cannot, you stop reacting the way they expect. Every impulse to explain, defend, or justify fades. Emotional detachment is no longer absent. It is a choice, a signal that your energy belongs to yourself alone. You speak less, measure each word, and let the pauses stretch. The space between sounds becomes a statement, a presence that cannot be rushed or broken. Observation replaces response. You watch patterns, notice intentions, and understand movements before they unfold. Each moment of quiet is deliberate, a calibration of power and clarity. You no longer give them access to your inner world. Boundaries form naturally, unspoken yet firm. You do not announce them, they are felt. Silence becomes your tool, your shield, your signal. It is not emptiness or avoidance. It is dominance expressed without effort. People expect reaction, explanation, or emotion. And when they receive none, the imbalance reminds them that influence no longer flows toward their control. This phase is subtle but unmistakable. Fewer words, longer pauses, measured gestures, and calm observation mark the shift. They notice without understanding, feel without knowing, and respond without control. Your quiet presence disrupts assumptions, interrupts patterns, and redefines expectations. By withholding reaction, by embracing restraint, you create authority that cannot be bargained with, questioned, or diminished. Every interaction reinforces it. Every attempt to draw you into conflict fails. Every glance, every comment, every subtle test is met with stillness. They are left to navigate the void you have created, unsure of the rules, uncertain of influence, powerless to bend you. Your silence is not absence. Strategic silence is not surrender. It is the awakening of a presence that no one can predict. It is the moment where observation, restraint, and clarity converge to create a quiet authority. They may try to interpret it, label it, or challenge it, but their efforts only prove that your evolution is beyond their reach. In this space, your calm is power, your stillness is control, and your silence is unmistakable. Your energy changes before results appear. Calm replaces chaos without effort. Reactions fade. Control rises naturally. The room shifts when you enter, subtle but undeniable. Others feel it but cannot name it. You no longer seek to be understood. Every glance, every movement carries weight. Arguments that once demanded attention dissolve before they start. Expectations fade. Attempts to provoke meet. Your presence alone signals authority. Control is internal, unwavering, and self-contained. Influence spreads quietly through gestures, pauses, and decisions. People sense it in instinct, hesitation, and reaction. Nothing needs explanation. Nothing needs justification. The shift is felt, not spoken. Your calm shapes outcomes. Chaos around you diminishes without intervention. The energy you bring bends situations without effort. People notice change but cannot trace its source. Your presence carries authority before results show. You move forward unshaken. Attempts to define or manipulate you fail. The room adjusts naturally to your weight. Influence exists silently in every subtle interaction. Presence alone now carries impact. Control no longer depends on others. It grows from within, consistent and undeniable. The shift is complete. Your growth no longer needs acknowledgement. No one watches, no one comments, no one confirms. Every step forward is private, every change invisible. Improvements happen quietly, unseen, yet they reshape who you are. Emotional access is limited. Connections that once drained you are now controlled, measured, and withdrawn. Energy is preserved for yourself alone. Focus turns inward, toward the work of becoming stronger, sharper, more defined. The mask you once wore for others fades. It falls away naturally as the core beneath hardens. Each choice, each moment of restraint builds resilience. Nothing is announced, nothing is declared, yet transformation is undeniable. Growth occurs in silence, in absence of recognition. The void becomes your space to evolve, to strengthen without interference, to refine without observation. You move through this space deliberately. Private victories accumulate. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is precision. The core of who you are becomes unshakable, shaped by quiet persistence and inward focus. Nothing can reach it, nothing can sway it. The mask is gone, the core is solid, and every step confirms the force you have become. Every action is measured, every step intentional. Impulses no longer guide you, patterns reveal the path. Decisions are precise, calculated, and deliberate. You move with awareness that others cannot anticipate, that no one can predict. Approval, fear, or external opinion no longer influence your choices. Your focus is inward, guided by strategy and clarity. Unpredictability becomes your strength. You are unreachable, untouchable, a force that exists beyond expectation. Every interaction, every choice carries weight without explanation. Your presence and influence are felt, yet impossible to define. The power lies in the balance of control and mystery. You expand without announcement, strengthen without notice, and operate in a realm that others can observe but cannot access. Nothing can contain the force you have become. They cannot reach you. They cannot change your path. They cannot influence your choices or access your mind. Attempts to control you fail. Your space, your energy, your focus are entirely yours. Your silence has rewritten the story. Expectations crumble, assumptions shift, and their plans no longer matter. Confusion follows where you move. It becomes your mark, the sign of the force you now hold. This is not about gaining power. It is about remembering what you already are: strength, control, presence. They were never given to you. They were always inside. Recognition or approval does not define you. Your authority comes from within. You stand firm. Every decision, every movement, every moment confirms it. You are not learning to be powerful. You are returning to the self you have always carried. The crown is not new. It is recognition. You are complete.